I'm Patty Smith. I am a special education teacher and I live in Ann Arbor, and I'm on the Public Art Commission.
My name is David Zinn. I am a street artist and commercial artist living in Ann Arbor. Been living here my whole life. Drawn stuff for very useful purposes and sometimes just on the walls.
My name is John Kotarski and I'm an educator.
My name is Colleen Crawley. I've been a resident of Ann Arbor since 1998, and much of that time has been spent working right here at Motawi Tile Works. I'm a project designer and have been for about 16 years.
My name's Chip Smith. I'm a city council member here in Ann Arbor.
My name is Connie Rosolo Brown, and I am a designer. I spend a lot of time working with different abilities in doing residential design and also working with facilities with memory care. And lately, something that's near and dear to my heart, a lot of outdoor places.
I'm David Esau. I'm an architect with a firm called Cornerstone Design, a small firm that does a mix of commercial and residential projects, have a bit of a specialty in accessibility for people with disabilities on both commercial and residential projects.
My name is Allison Buck, and I am the operations manager at the Ann Arbor Film Festival. And I am also co-chair of the New Leaders Arts Council of Michigan.
I joined the Art Commission because I wanted to be able to get more art to more people.
I do have a desire to serve our community, and this is one way that really matches up my talents and my expertise.
I really view myself as not somebody who has a great deal of background or expertise in art per se, but in public decision making and how we incorporate that art into our everyday lives. I think I can offer a great deal of insight.
As an architect, I have a background in buildings, so trying to figure out where to put public art, I think I'll have a bit of expertise in that area. I'm very organized in terms of helping to get a board or commission working in the same direction and understanding their charter and all of that, so I think I'll be helpful in that way as well.
I joined the Art Commission because I support public art in Ann Arbor. I wanted to make sure that it continues and flourishes, and thought that I could help in that aspect. Been involved on the other side of public art projects when I used to work at the Arts Alliance, and so I think I bring a unique perspective that way. And I also am connected with the overall arts community of Michigan through my New Leaders work, and so wanted to be able to bring that network to Ann Arbor as well.
Obviously, since I make most of my art with tools that have Crayola stamped on the side, I'm not really a high artist. I am literally a low artist. And I think it would be useful, always useful, for people to embrace the idea that art is many more things than we realize. It's not only things that are in frames on walls and galleries and museums, and it's actually even more, I don't want to use the word impactful. Let me go back. Yes, art in galleries is important and good to have, but the art you see walking to work one day when you didn't expect to see art is probably going to have a much bigger effect on that day of your life than the 500th painting that you saw when you went to that one museum once because you happen to be in that town and that's what people do. So I think the more of that we can get, the more of a ripple effect there will be of creative energy in this community. And I want to help with that.
Here we go. Okie dokie. All right, first thing on our agenda is the roll call. So, John Kotarski. Allison Buck. Present. Connie Brown.
Present.
Colleen Crawley.
Here.
David Esau.
Here.
Craig Hoopie. Bob Miller.
Here.
Patty Smith. Councilmember Chip Smith.
I am here.
David Zinn.
Here.
Excellent. Okay, next we have the approval of the agenda. The motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I move to approve the agenda.
Thank you. All right.
Do we need to vote?
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Any nays? No. Now we will open up for public comment. If anyone in the public would like to make comments? approval of minutes. We have our minutes attached. Anyone move to approve the minutes?
Move.
So moved?
Second?
Second.
Yep.
It looks like it needs a quick spell check. There's some typos, but other than that, it looks fine.
Proclamations, stuff like
Yes.
Amended and.
Is it Procliff? I would not be there.
that. And then do you have to move to amend?
I don't think typos have to be
Okay,
amended
amended.
formally.
All right. Okay, all nays, all in favor?
Aye.
All any nays?
No?
Okay. Alrighty, so that is the approval of minutes. Now we have old business, and we have Megan Winkle here from the Ann Arbor Arts Center to present to us about the beautiful gallery that we have in the back of Council Chambers.
Hi.
Hello.
Thanks for having me. So the gallery that's behind me on the wall back here is presented obviously in collaboration with the City of Ann Arbor and with support from the Public Art Commission. And the Ann Arbor Art Center is doing rotating exhibitions in that space that are changing about every 7 to 8 weeks, depending on what the calendar is looking like. And so I just wanted to give you a quick update on what we've had so far, what's up now, and kind of what's coming. So our first one, which this was starting September 2017, was selections from In Transit, which was a community engagement project between the Ann Arbor Art Center, the Ride, and Washtenaw Community College. So it was Washtenaw Community College photography students, and the work highlighted the reach and the route of our public transportation in the Ann Arbor area. So through that project, we did pop-up shows from downtown Ann Arbor to Ypsi to Scioto Township, and this was part of that. The second show was the work of Carolyn Reed Barrett. Carolyn is an Ann Arbor artist who has exhibited nationally, including at the Box Gallery in Pittsburgh and Site Brooklyn. Her paintings and drawings are made with marks and abstract shapes. She uses ink and marker on paper. And all of the work that was in the City Gallery installation was from her Lost Empire series, which has to do with the unpredictable nature of the environment and how it evolves through a process of transformation. The third installation was called Spectrum, and that was an exploration of painting and printmaking techniques. It was the work of 5 mid-career artists who currently reside in Southeast Michigan and within the Ann Arbor area. And their work, what was so interesting is displayed side by side, you can see the diversity of the skill and the technique that these artists use, even though they're using the same mediums and kind of exploring the same themes. And in that case, it was mostly landscape. Okay, so now we're at the current exhibition, which features the work of artists of the WSG, the Washington Street Gallery. So these are our neighbors on Main Street. WSG is a gallery that was established in 1999 as an artist-run space. So it has 16 member artists, and each of the member artists take turns kind of having a solo exhibition in their gallery. So this show features 8 of their 16 members. And so coming up next, the next exhibition after this one comes down will be 2 members of the Ann Arbor women artists, Beth Billups and Deb Ide, who both work in cold wax and encaustic paintings. That's a really nice 2-person show. And then coming up after that, we're doing a spotlight on the work of teens. And then we're doing a city staff show. That's going to kind of round out the calendar for us this year.
Thank you very much. It's nice to have these in the council room.
Oh, yeah, okay. I was trying to sneak away.
I just wondered, are you aware, can the general public get up here to see this at times other than when there's meetings, or is it strictly for when there's?
Yes. Is so long as they're not, you can see the meeting schedule online. But yeah, the space is open and available for people to come in and see. We also keep an archive on our website, so if anyone's curious as to what the past installations looked like, you can see photos and some artwork details there. And then for the duration of all the installations, if the artists would like to have their work for sale, all of that can be, you can contact the Ann Arbor Art Center if you're interested in actually purchasing any of the work. We love to support artists in that way, right? So.
Is the current exhibition information also on your website?
It will be shortly. This one just went up last week. It's brand new, which is great.
And
The labels are still there.
Yeah, and the labels are there.
And if an artist is interested in applying, do you have an application, or are you just doing curated shows? How does that work?
You know, because this was a proposal that went through with the city, we had kind of outlined what the shows were going to be through this agreement cycle, and so we're just kind of following through that at this point. But yeah, that may be something we consider for future shows.
Any other questions, guys?
Thank you for doing
Yeah,
that.
thank you so much.
Thank you very
That
much.
looks great. Okay, now we have a report from staff. So there are 4 different project updates that are on your agenda here. And I'm just gonna read them so that the general public that is watching us on television now or later knows what we're looking at. So these are the updates from city staff. The first project update is about the manhole cover project. So the manhole art winners have, top 3 winners have been selected, and notifications and press release will be shared soon on those. Arbor wins replacement glass. The funds are available to move forward with the replacement of the damaged glass panel, and city staff working on the details of laser etching with a glazing company in Lansing. This is the piece that's on the stadium, over the stadium bridge, on the stadium boulevard space. And then sidewalk stamped art. After review from the city attorney, the consensus is that any non-uniformities on the surface of a sidewalk create potential maintenance issues and could possibly create trip hazards. At this time, it's not advisable to move this project forward. And the last update is about the Bloomberg Philanthropies Public Art Challenge. This is a proposal for temporary public art projects where Bloomberg Philanthropies will donate up to $1 million to each of 3 cities. Mayor Taylor has approved participation in this challenge. While this is a short deadline, I think we have to apply by April 19th, I think is the deadline. Yeah. Staff is moving forward and sending out notification to the art community within Washtenaw County to prepare outlines for that. I don't think anyone's here to answer any questions on these, but if you guys do have questions, you can throw them out there and we can at least get them noted, and Vanita can take them to whomever would be able to respond to them and get us responses.
We might mention Craig would usually give this update, but he's at a conference tonight, so he couldn't be here.
Where would an artist find information about the Bloomberg Challenge, which would give them the opportunity to understand what the guidelines and so on are for them to participate?
I can actually answer that one. Mayor Taylor's assistant, is it Christine or Christina? Yeah, Christine. Christine is answering all questions about that proposal. Right now, we've sent out to the community to send in an outline, and there's a letter that outlines what that outline should say. And Christine can get them a copy of that, the artist a copy of that, which also has attachments of the full application.
Is the letter publicly available, or is it only available through a phone call and contacting Christine?
A press release is going out.
Released. Do you know when? Maybe tomorrow. Okay. At the latest Monday?
I've seen it, so I know that it's ready and available.
Okay. And do you know where that press release will be posted?
I don't know where we do them on our page. If we do them on the beginning of the city webpage, if it's part of information, news, or if it's a full page of a press release that's a click directly to it.
Is it something that could be shared outside of the city website through other avenues? For example, private Facebook pages and so on? Mm-hmm. So it's unlimited to as much as we choose to share it. Mm-hmm. Are there any other avenues that the city can choose to share it on other than their website?
It will be in the Ann Arbor MLive. It's a regular press release.
Great.
City, yeah, county right, yeah.
Thank you.
I know they have. They've already done a lot of outreach.
Yeah.
The information has been submitted to at least a number of nonprofits who are trying to distribute it to their networks as well.
Terrific.
Just trying to find someone who might have some idea already in mind, because there's not much time to come up with something.
Mm-hmm.
The press release went out this afternoon.
Oh, nice.
Great, even better.
You're looking at it on the city website right now?
I'm looking at the email that was sent out by the city's Joanna Satterley, the communications person for the city that handles our press releases, that goes to pretty wide distribution, but Anita can email copy of the press release to all of you, and you all can put it on your social media sites. I'll certainly put it on mine, but I would expect that there'll be a little bit of coverage that it gets, maybe for a couple hours on MLive.
Okay.
That's great. Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? No? Report from committees.
The CIP committee did not meet last month after we finished our CIP report previous round, so we'll be picking up next month with talking about how to track CIP projects.
And the communications committee did not meet either, and it's disbanded, so no update from.
Could I just say, from my vantage point on City Council, how much we appreciate the work that went into the CIP update recommendations. I know that many of the commenters on MLive didn't want to pick out the facts from what you had recommended, but you did exactly what the committee was tasked with doing, and I thought you did a wonderful job of presenting that in a very straightforward and professional manner, and I think that that's exactly the model for how this commission moves forward.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for verbalizing. All right, at this time, we have a special presentation from Stephen Ranzini.
Thanks very much for inviting me to talk about the Rotating Art Gallery for Local Artists project. I've given each of you a 2-page document that's sort of a summary of the project. I apologize for the folks online. We just didn't get it posted there yet, but hopefully we'll have it posted online tomorrow. So we propose the creation in Ann Arbor of a rotating public art gallery displaying the work of local artists. The artists would be selected via juried competitions open to all, with the winners getting a 4-month show, so 3 a year. The art would include sculpture outdoors and other arts indoors. In this way, a year-round art fair could be created in downtown Ann Arbor and ultimately across the entire city. The rotating art gallery would ultimately be self-sustaining, since it would earn commissions from the auction of the artwork. A minimum 10% commission, averaging 15% comparable to a gallery, will be charged on all sales. Electronic online bidding would occur for the duration of each show for each piece, with payment guaranteed via credit card, so the rotating public art gallery would need a website. The website, quickly accessible via a QR code 2D barcode next to each piece of art, would have links to artists, curated information about each art piece, and price information, with some type of smartphone option that would make it easier for people to shop and purchase work or learn more about the artist. So the website would need a mobile phone app developed. The revenue from commissions should make the Ann Arbor Rotating Art Gallery sustainable, with the goal of covering the ongoing costs. There are many different options for locations for the Rotating Art Gallery. It just depends on the type of artwork and how to best display the work. And in the memo, I outlined some specific ideas, but I'm not going to go into that. In addition, private businesses could get involved with locations like bank lobbies, vacant storefronts, and downtown coffee stores. Also, local parks could also be involved as sites to display art. Downtown Ann Arbor businesses may opt to participate to raise their visibility in the community and to attract new potential customers. Sites that participate as gallery locations will have professional museum quality wall picture display systems installed so that pictures can be hung and changed without damaging walls. Volunteers will install these systems to lower the cost to merchants of participating as gallery sites. The mobile app could help identify places where art is available for viewing and where additional art by the various artists is located. The Ann Arbor Art Center, an IRS-approved 501c3 nonprofit, has tentatively agreed in principle to form a new fund to administer the program. We have initiated discussions that might lead to some small initial grant funding from the Ann Arbor Downtown Development Authority, or DDA as it's properly known, and the Ann Arbor Area Community Foundation, and University Bank, where I am the president and CEO. Funds could also be raised from other area businesses and business leaders. We could organize citizens to raise additional funds via an online fundraising campaign that people could sign up to and pledge funds to via Kickstarter.com, where the money isn't released until the total minimum required is raised. A committee to make this happen has already formed, and if you're interested in getting involved or have some skills to offer the group that could help make it happen, please contact me, and my email is ranzini@university-bank.com. But if you can't remember that, just go to University Bank's website, and my email is there if you look. Through the help of Amy Klinke at the University of Michigan's Business Engagement Center, we identified a professor at U of M, Jeff Ringenberg, who recruited a group of 5 computer engineering students who will build the mobile app for Ann Arbor Art as part of a class project. An initial team meeting was held and the project officially launched January 22nd this year with the aim of completing the project by the end of the semester. In the memo, I've outlined various marketing ideas, but I'll also mention just one. We now own the domain annarborart.org, and Ann Arbor Art could be marketed as AQ, with the tagline, "Taking Art to a Higher Level." We've also outlined in the memo 6 implementation requirements ranked in the order of priority and importance to get to launch. The first, of course, is we need to build the mobile app. Second, we'll need legal contracts with artists, the city, or other businesses for display space. 3, we will need blanket and liability general insurance. 4, we're not sure and we're researching is any type of licensing through the state or county required. 5, we'll need specific jury rules, including maximum dimensions of art pieces and method of selection and rotation of the jury to ensure fair juries. And 6, we will need to be able to offer the artists a minimum reserve price, either public or private, private, of course, being a secret reserve. So with that, I'll take any questions that you might have. And again, I very much appreciate being able to discuss the concept. It's very interesting, the initial presentation that Megan gave is kind of a little taste, actually, of what it could be, right? So we have, you know, a rotating art gallery here at the back of City Council chambers. But imagine that going citywide, right? And imagine that next to each one of those pieces of artwork, wherever it might be, you have your little 2D QR code, and with your app, you can open it up, a curated batch of information about the piece, the artist, and if you really like that art, find where you can go in the city to see others like it. We also think it will benefit tourism in the city because, you know, if people lose themselves for 2-3 hours wandering around the city doing something cool, they might stay the night, they might buy dinner, you know, who knows. So anyway, we think it's a win-win-win for everybody. And I also might add that I was very excited to see the information about the Bloomberg Challenge because certainly, you know, this fits right in with that concept. And I think it's a very well thought out proposal since we have 7 people on the committee who are very experienced. Also mentioned, we do have Matruka here from the committee today also giving some support. And your chair is on the committee too, John, but as some of you may know, his wife had a baby, so he has a very good excuse not to be here tonight. So, or did I get that wrong?
I probably. I would be surprised. We would all
Okay,
be
well, anyway,
surprised.
there's some health emergency,
Okay.
so anyway.
Okay.
Anyway, so anyway, with that, if I have any questions, let me know.
What do other galleries in town think of this idea? Have you talked to them?
Great question, David. We still don't have feedback on that point, but again, if there's any gallery owners who are listening or anyone that you think that we should talk to, you know, let's ask them the question. I mean, I would hope that they would view it as a positive and not any kind of a competitive threat. there's no reason why galleries couldn't participate in this program if that's what they wanted to do. If there's more people wandering around Ann Arbor looking for art, hopefully the galleries will be prominently, part of the app. That, hey, there's a gallery nearby. This is the kind of stuff they have, right? I mean, why wouldn't that be helpful to them? I think it would be a positive. And we're not trying to exclude anything, right? So the idea would be, like, for example, even if U of M has all this art in all their halls, maybe they would want to participate and add it to the database, right? So that people could go around public buildings at U of M and see their private art. Or there may be other companies in town that, they have their own private art that they're willing to let the public see. Similarly, the art galleries, if they want to add their items to the database and have that be discoverable through the art, I mean, I think that's fabulous.
So you're looking to have the app be comprehensive of not just artwork that's in the rotating series that you guys are putting together, but also other...
Ultimately, yeah. I mean, you got to
small,
crawl before you run, right? But the idea is we start with the basic concept, and then we're going to extend it outward to all the existing art as we can catalog it and get it into the system, right? So there's a tremendous amount of art in Ann Arbor already, whether it's in parks, it's some of the work that you've done, public installations, or just private things that have been done over the years, right? You could also imagine extending it to landmark buildings, right? So, for example, downtown, there's many landmark buildings, so it'd be kind of cool to have curated information about the history of the building and maybe some of the architectural features of the building, right? Our own bank is in one of those cool architectural historic, buildings, so that's kind of a cool thing, right? To have people be able to discover it. And also, I'd say that our own bank would be interested in having the rotating space in it, making that available to the public too. And I think there's other businesses that would feel the same way. If you're a business and people may not know you and they have a reason to wander into your business, they're more likely then to learn about your business and buy things from you, right? Half the battle is just getting people into your store.
I would encourage you to look at the Michigan Art Tours app. There's an app that the Michigan Council for Arts and Cultural Affairs put together that they worked very hard on, that actually curates all of the public artwork in Michigan, or not all, but that was the goal, is to be as comprehensive as possible. So it would be a good tool to either link up to or look at as an example.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great suggestion.
Yeah, and not to add to your task, but I know we've been talking about art walks as one of the things for people to go and see art that's already existing, but maybe that coincides with what you're doing.
Yeah,
and
that's
beef
a great
it up
idea.
a little bit. Yeah,
that's a great idea, Commissioner. The idea is that the app will help lead people to discover more art, right? So the idea is sort of like your Google map, right? What's within quick walking distance of me, right? So, what could be within quick walking distance of me is an art walk, right?
So even though it's called the rotating exhibit, would you be...
Sorry, it's my daughter's bedtime.
Would you be, it sounds like you'd also be including permanent murals and things that are
Yes,
are like
ultimately,
that,
right.
Okay.
So like I said, the initial task is to get the app built and get the system for the rotating art gallery up and running, but then our goal is to extend it into all the permanent installations in town. Right.
Have you attended Art Prize in Grand Rapids yet? The annual event that takes place every September.
It's pretty famous.
Yeah, it's kind of the whole use of phones to find the art. That's
Right.
what this reminded me of. So
Right,
it's a very cool.
But this is
event.
cooler,
This would
we
be
want it cooler in
ongoing.
Grand
Yeah,
Rapids,
well,
right?
of course. If it's year round, it's going to be much cooler.
Right, exactly.
So,
right.
yeah, very good.
But without the big prize.
Well,
Art
who
no
knows?
prize.
We can develop that later.
Yeah.
So the percentage for the commission that comes in and all that, has that number been sort of stabilized by other galleries, and that's what they traditionally bring in per piece, and knowing that that would actually make it the project whole?
Yeah. So our understanding, and talking among the members of the committee, and it's basically myself, a lawyer, and 5 artists. Okay. Is that that's kind of a standard business model today in the gallery business. So, again, if somebody has some other information, we'd love to hear it. But, because a lot of the work would be all volunteers, it doesn't take a lot of money to make it really work, right? I mean, the main thing is there's going to be a need for one permanent employee to run the IT aspect of it, right? The database and to keep the app up to date, right? So that's really the only salary that's actually required to make this really work, we believe, as long as the volunteerism is there.
Is there a volunteer on staff that would do your continuing marketing to get the word out about all the artwork and get that message out to get sales going? And
yeah, so again, part of our theory here is by partnering with the Ann Arbor Art Center, right, we can leverage some of their resources, and this will be a fund of theirs if it's successful and we get it up and running. And so all their experience in those kinds of things, hopefully we can leverage off of. Right. But again, you got to get the executive director to say, oh yeah, we're going to.
One thing that the American Institute of Architects did a while back is they had little videos they did of a lot of the buildings that had historical value or artistic value or something, that you might want to tap into that and be able to share that. I think the videos are still out there. It's been a while. Yeah.
So videos from, what's the organization?
It's from the American Institute of Architects. Did a whole series of things like on Nichols Arcade and the Maya Lin sculpture up at North Campus.
Those are local here on Valley.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Do you have any sense
Great
of
suggestion.
timeline for when, obviously you're working on the app this semester
Right.
with students?
Well, I hope it works.
Assuming that gets done, would you be trying to kick this off in summer, fall, 2020, or?
Yes. So in all seriousness, I mean, this is a lot of work, and I'm not, I can't stand here saying I'm completely confident that these very enthusiastic young students will actually be able to do everything that's needed, right? But the way I look at it is even if we get 80% of the work done, right? And then, we can get some money to finish it out, or maybe next semester we get another group to finish it out, right? Or, somehow we finish it out, right? Then we can get to the point of actually launching and marketing, right? But until you really have this app, it's, that's like the glue that makes it all work, right? And I took computer programming in college, but, I don't know app programming, so I can't do it. And none of the other people in the committee can do it. And we look actually pretty long and hard. I mean, either you have to come up with sort of 6 figures to pay somebody to do it, or you got to do what we're doing, which is the bootstrap it way, right? Now, of course, if, we were to somehow win like the Bloomberg Challenge, right? I mean, we'd have like a staff, and we'd have like a marketing budget, and the app could be absolutely finished as soon as we want it, right?
Information on where to apply.
Well, yeah, I think we already have an application pretty much roughed out, right?
Yeah.
But you've given me already 2 new excellent ideas here tonight, so I really appreciate that.
Well, thank you for doing this. Yeah, very much.
Exciting.
well, keep us informed on how the project goes and let us know if we can be of support. We don't have all that much bandwidth on our own or either, but we like to be supportive of.
Right, and everybody's got
all
a day
that.
job, right? So, it's all a bunch of volunteers. So, like I said, I can't say that absolutely for sure it's going to happen, but it's a great idea and it should happen, right? And if we get enough help, we might be able to make it happen. And if it can happen, it would be really fabulous for the city and for the art community. I think it would be great for the art community. So,
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you.
thanks for everybody.
So that was the end of our agenda.
Okay.
Any questions, concerns, anything before we wrap it up?
One thing I'd like to bring up just briefly, I wanted to talk more about maintenance of existing artwork. And I think it was something that I wanted to bring up in our last meeting but wasn't able to cover. So I just wanted to see if we can't put aside a way or a mechanism to revisit artwork that exists to take care of it. We have bike racks that were installed years ago that say art on them. that are looking pretty bleak at the moment, and I would love to see them cleaned up somehow, or dealt with in some way. So just so we can kind of keep full circle on what's installed, so we can keep everything looking as good as what's new. What's old should look as good as what's new. So that's what I wanted to kind of circle back to. I'm not sure how we can accomplish that, but.
I think Craig would have to address that.
Possibly. I don't know. Benita, do you have any input on how we could kind of?
I don't have input. I would like to try to reach out to the DDA because I wonder if a portion of those may belong to the DDA.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that something you can do possibly?
I can do that.
I would appreciate that a ton.
Sure.
That would be great.
Yeah, and Craig's back on Friday, so I can make a point to make a list for him and get some.
Thank you.
I would also think that moving forward is things are installed, that a maintenance plan is part of the RFP.
It is.
And, you know, when we have that, that's a lot easier to plug into the regular maintenance schedule.
It is, and that's absolutely true. And we have that. We've had that moving forward. We have it, and we've had it in place probably for the last 6 years or so.
It's been a while.
But we have art that has existed that needs attention. So that's my goal, is just to address the older stuff that's more pedestrian, the stuff I see every day walking and biking, that I would love to see maintained.
Sure.
So.
I do know for the, like the traffic box wraps.
Yeah.
If you use C-Click Fix to note anything on it, like if there's something wrong with it, they do get right on it with the C-Click Fix. So you can use, you should C-Click Fix one of the bike racks.
Really?
Yeah.
Son of a gun.
Cleaned right up.
That's good to know. Thanks.
Vanita, do you know anything about art commissioners' term schedules? There was that email from Patty that her schedule was up last month, which struck a couple of us as odd.
No, I don't have my book with me, but I do have a list of everybody.
Okay.
So
Yes.
I can address, the surprise came because last fall when I did the survey of our commissioners, Patty at that time thought she was staying on and had indicated that she was going to renew if, and let them know. So this was a big change. So I don't think anyone was ready to, none of us knew that she was going to do that.
The other thing was just the timing, whether that's when terms really expire.
Oh.
Because Bob thought it was later this year.
Yours is
May
actually later.
mine and hers are the same. So May 31st is what we're
That's a May
scheduled.
expiration.
So I assumed our obligations are through the 31st potentially, at least.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think everybody's is different depending upon when you joined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Anything else? Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would certainly like to see it continue and expand its work on trying to get public art into any new public construction that the city is doing. I would like to see somehow the commission or some organization finding a better way to celebrate and direct people to the public art that we have. There's been a lot of pieces put in place, and some of it is well known and some of it is not, and there's, to my knowledge, there's no central place that someone can go to find all of that if they wanted a tour to it. So I think that would be an important thing that I'd like to see somehow get done in the next few years.
I am a writer, and I do spoken word storytelling performances. So those are aspects of public art that I think often get overlooked. And with no offense at all to people who do watercolors or who do oil paints, and no disrespect at all to them, but I think I bring just a different aspect of the arts. I bring a great love of Ann Arbor, a great knowledge of Ann Arbor, and a great knowledge of Ann Arbor history.
That's what I think art is. It doesn't just package things for us to spit back our viewpoint, but it puts our mind or our emotion or some piece of us in a little bit of a different place, and it makes us think. So I don't think it's limited to what we traditionally want to classify as art or architecture or design and say, no, that's not art or that's not architecture, but it's a combination of those things and can happen in a variety of places.
Assuming we're going by the best piece of public art of all time in Ann Arbor, clearly the earless Mickey Actually a series of them created by Chris Dunn back in the 80s. All of them long gone, but that is often the nature of art. It's hard to explain. Should I explain to people who don't know the Earless Mickey? Because many people, luckily I believe, still know about this. I had the ideal experience of the Earless Mickey as a young man, walking down a street in Ann Arbor and suddenly seeing at my feet a drawing of Mickey Mouse's head without ears, with no explanation, no reason, no signature, just Mickey with no ears. And was confused by it and then went on my way. And weeks later, happened down the same street at night and was treated to the revelation that there was a precise reason for that painting to be painted where it was. Because at night, the street lamp across the street cast the shadow of a double-headed parking meter in the perfect location to create the ears on this earless Mickey. And it was just a revelation of the point of pointlessness, that this had no reason to exist as far as I knew, other than my pleasurable reaction and the reaction of thousands of other people, that someone had that idea looking at the shadow of a parking meter and thought, you know what would be awesome? An earless Mickey. And that's what artists do. They take the time to actually have that idea and then go through the trouble of doing it and then letting everyone else go, of course, earless Mickey.